The boy in these photographs is David Eisenhower. The older man is his grandfather, President and five-star General Dwight David Eisenhower. It's normal to look up to your grandfather, but when your grandfather is a two-term president who led 5 million troops in the defeat of Hitler, that's a big deal.
It is a huge deal, and I was aware of it at a very early age.
Were you scared of him a little bit?
Yes, I wanted to be at my best around him. I felt this underlying esteem and affection.
Soldiers, sailors, and airmen.
Eisenhower,
You are about to embark upon the Great Crusade.
the supreme commander of Allied forces in Europe during World War II,
So help me God.
who went on to serve 8 years in the White House, went home 50 years ago with his wife Mamie to their farm in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
From every direction.
Yes.
He came here in retirement,
Right.
but he wasn't really quiet here.
No, I don't think that presidents are allowed to retire.
And Ike was not the retiring type. In Going Home to Glory, the younger Eisenhower describes his grandfather's restless post-presidential life, raising cattle, advising his White House successors, and mentoring Republican hopefuls, including his Vice President, Richard Nixon.
My first visit, June 1st, 1967.
David's co-author is his wife, Julie Nixon Eisenhower.
And here is the bride, looking every inch a fairy tale princess.
That's right, you may remember that Richard Nixon's daughter married Ike's grandson, David.
David and Julie are looking, I would say, euphoric.
Uniting two very famous political names.
All looking very happy indeed.
So you were like the Brad and Angelina of Republican politicians' kids.
Oh, heaven forbid, no. I hope we weren't that overexposed. We certainly weren't seeking it, that's for sure.
Certainly weren't. You know, I was interested in Julie. That was it.
The two met as kids at Ike's second inaugural in 1957. Julie had had a sledding accident the day before.
And I careened up, and so I went into a tree, and I had a really big black eye. And the president leaned down to me, President Eisenhower, and he whispered, "Now, Julie, you look this way, and they won't see your black eye." And so when we were engaged later, President Eisenhower gave me this framed picture of that moment, and he said, "To Julie Nixon, who even then seems to have unwittingly gained an admirer."
The ball is one of the highlights of the social season.
They started dating in college when Mamie Eisenhower prodded David at Amherst to call on Julie 7 miles down the road at Smith.
The appearance of David and Julie had the society columns buzzing with speculation.
And this is the late 60s. The anti-war movement is at a fever pitch. You are young conservatives at liberal colleges.
Not that conservative.
I wouldn't call
sort of-
myself a conservative.
I would say like a moderate Republican, a middle of the road.
They say that neither they nor their namesake presidents were hard-line Republicans.
We may as well say what it is, since we're not running for office. We would never get elected today, but Nixon was considered a progressive Republican.
And Eisenhower governed, in his own words, as, quote, a middle-of-the-roader.
He was a very strongly principled man who was a moderate. That's correct. Moderate because he felt that American democracy required moderation.
In their book, published by Simon & Schuster, a CBS company, both authors insist the two men had a warm relationship.
You've got the two command personalities bumping along together, and what we always say is amazing they got along as well as they did.
In the book, you write that your father's feelings towards David's grandfather bordered on hero worship.
I think so. It was very much a father-son relationship because there was that much of an age gap. He credited Eisenhower with allowing him to become a student of the world because Eisenhower was an internationalist.
Dwight D. Eisenhower died in March of 1969. He would not be able to advise the newlyweds or newly elected President Nixon
At first, it was called the Watergate Caper.
during the crisis that would engulf them all.
I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow.
And so, Richard Milhouse Nixon has resigned as the 37th President of the United States.
The Watergate years and the resignation, did that make your relationship stronger?
Oh, long range, I think it did.
Yeah, we survived. Let's put it that way. I think it was a very difficult time.
Would you say that it was traumatic, or?
Oh, yeah, I think it was a very traumatic thing to go
Well,
through the
something
resignation.
that-
Because my father felt he let the country down. And
Two different presidents with two very different legacies. Eisenhower left office and left life as a highly admired figure, and your dad, for much of the country, was not admired. Did that create stress?
for us, you mean?
None.
No, that wouldn't have created stress. When you love someone and care about them, if they have a disaster, you don't abandon them. So we had such a strong family that, yes, it was extremely difficult, but that's the last time that you would abandon someone, is if they've had a disaster in life. Five-star flag.
Married 41 years, David and Julie Eisenhower and their 3 kids are heirs to 2 of the most famous political figures of the 20th century.
This was me in the patriotic first order dress.
This would be a White House photograph.
Their White House days are long in the past, and they're just fine with that.
Oh, yeah, and thank God it's all over, too. Yeah. And that, we're not recognized anymore. Or it's a privilege to tell this story. And for 4 weeks, we might be recognized in the grocery store, and then people might ask us still to spell the name.
Julie put her finger
which just happens all the time.
It's a big relief.
Yeah.